Hello and welcome everybody to today's live stream. So, in today's live stream, we are going to be going over the three primary intuition hijacks that completely block you from knowing and trusting and connecting to your intuition. And we're going to create some breakthroughs. And when we create these breakthroughs, you'll find yourself able to hone in on and connect your intuition in such a profound and powerful way, a way that you maybe have not been able to before. So, hello and welcome. I am Violet Rain Freedom. My friends call me V, and I do psychological matrix decoding. That's kind of a fancy word for um, going into the subconscious mind and reprogramming it and recalibrating it so that you align to the life that you really desire. I love going live. We're live on a couple of different platforms today. So if you have any questions, whether you're joining live or whether you are on the replay, go ahead and post them in the chat. I keep an eye on these for 2 to 3 days afterwards to get in and reply to your comments. But the way that my gifts work is the more specific or detailed or questioned you are, the more guidance I am able to give. So if you have questions, you are invited. Jump in the chat and share them with us. So let's just get started. Let's just jump right in. So the first major hijack that people have, this is the simplest one. That's why I'm starting with the easiest one first, is that people believe the lie that all intuition types are the same. This is a huge misnomer. Um, and it's crazy because I see this like it feels and sounds really simple when I get in and explain it to you, but this is the number one reason why people can't connect to and find their intuition is that people think that intuition is universal and that it speaks to everyone the same, manifests and presents the same, it feels the same. And that's just not the case. So, to know your intuition type, you need to go get your human design chart. You can get it online for free in a bunch of different places. And in it, you will get what is your authority type, is what it's called. And that type is going to let you know how your intuition speaks to you and how you can identify and recognize it and tune into it. The majority of the planet are sacral authority generators. So, generators an energy type, but sacral authorities is an intuition type. And those are people that their gut speaks to them through in the moment, yes, no, tugs, pulls, gut checks. It's a feeling. And so, therefore, most of the advice out there about connecting to our intuition is for sacral generators, is for people with sacral authority. So, if you do not have that authority type and you are trying to tune into your gut and you're trying to feel those urges and those gut pulls one way or the other, you are going to be massively disappointed because it's not your authority type. So, for example, I am not a sacral authority. So, if I'm trying to tune in to the guidance, right, of my higher self, source, God, intuition, energy, the oneness energy, whatever you want to call it. And I'm trying to connect to that energy and to make a decision in my life. And I am seeking for those gut urges and impulses. I am fucked. Completely, because from that space, I am going to keep basically hitting my head up against the same brick wall. And this is the phenomenon that I see created when people don't know and own and understand their intuition type. So I'm going to give you an example. One of the intuition types is called emotional authority. Now, these individuals live their life on an emotional wave, and their guidance is to often sleep on their decision 1 or 2 nights. At least one, because they ride an emotional wave. And the way that they're feeling and the decision they're feeling like they want to make when they're on a high may not be how they want to feel on a low. So, because of that, they may feel really hung up and stuck on what to do because they don't recognize that their intuition is not an in the moment solid yes, solid no. Their intuition is something they settle into over time. And it's often the guidance they're getting when they feel neutral, when they feel the most neutral in their emotions and in their energy. But the truth is, emotional authorities rarely feel 100% certain about something. Sacral authorities, like I had talked about earlier, the gut check people, they're not that way. They're pretty clear. Yes, no, it's pretty stark difference. An emotional authority is usually 70 to 90% a yes when the answer is a yes for them. And that is because of the way that they process their reality. People with an emotional authority tend to really process the full expanse of pros and cons emotionally and the potential repercussions in any decision. So, because of that wisdom and because they see that there are potential negative or shadow aspects emotionally to any and all decisions, um, their wisdom doesn't give them like this solid yes because of the way that they're designed to engage with reality. This is the power in knowing your unique intuition type. Then the minute that you know that, you're no longer going to be available for or susceptible to that hijack of this is how everyone's intuition works. This is why I strongly disagree in I do premium, my wife and I do premium high end coaching facilitation work, retreats, VIP days, coaching containers. We don't just why was I telling you that? Hold on. Um, it's funny that just slipped my mind. Oh, I don't believe in pressure sales. So, I don't even really believe in like sales the way it's traditionally taught. When I'm deciding if someone's a fit or a match for me as a client, I get in a one-on-one conversation with them and I feel into the energetics. I feel into what they're wanting, where they're at, what I have to offer, if this is going to be a match. It's pretty simple. Whereas other people approach sales from like almost like I got to trick them or manipulate them, or I've got to show up perfectly to get them to buy. That just feels really icky and hard, and then honestly, really kind of bizarre. It's almost like catfishing someone, right? When you're dating, it's like, "Ooh, I gotta do all these, like, manipulative techniques to, like, get this person." Um, and that's just sad. It's just sad, honestly. And so but the pressure sales tactics are incredibly dishonoring to emotional authority types. Emotional authority types need to sleep on their decisions, but so often these high ticket, high pressure, like premium package type people out there, or in like bigger agencies or company marketing agencies, bigger coaching brands, they have this whole sales teams that's taught these techniques of like getting the yes, making people say yes right now, by putting pressure on. Like if you say yes today, you can save $1,000. If you don't say yes today, the 3 spots are gonna fill. They use fear marketing and pressure tactics, and for someone with an emotional authority, that is incredibly dishonoring and dysfunctional. They're not gonna be able to actually know for sure what's a fit for them until they sleep on it. Other people are like self-projected authorities need to talk it out, need to have a sounding board, and that's how they're going to know what their intuition type is. Welcome everybody joining. Today we're talking about the 3 hijacks that completely block your intuition and how to break through those. And the first one we're talking about right now is thinking that all authority types are the same way, all intuition speaks the same. You have a unique um radio, if you will, that gets to be tuned to your specific station. And the way to know that, I invite you to go and run your human design chart. If you're on here and you've already ran your chart, I would love to know what your authority type is, or if you have any questions specifically around intuition. Awesome. Welcome, Wendy. Welcome, Mike. Hello, Aaron. Welcome. Yes. Okay. So let's move on to number 2. The second hijack I see is where people try to describe or believe that if something feels good, that means it's right for them. And if it feels bad, that means it's bad for them. That is such a gross oversimplification and generalization of the way intuition speaks to us because it doesn't take into account the nervous system and nervous system regulation. So, somebody who is conditioned for conflict or violence or toxicity or dysfunction, their nervous system is going to seek out and feel the most safe and at home inside of repeating dynamics because it's familiar. And so this is why doing the mindset piece, the reprogramming work of reprogramming your mind to feel safe and worthy, and protected and just regulated inside of abundance, um, visibility, uh, responsibility, any of those different at each new level as we're expanding and growing, we bring in more, right? So more visibility, more impact, more responsibilities, more pressure, whatever it is. If you're wanting to manifest more of something in your life, you get to regulate to that something more is essentially. how it works. So that is the second hijack. The second hijack is, oh, this is just like feeling off for me. Great. That can be a intuition indicator. But my question would be, what is feeling off about this? And let's like really tune in to, is this your nervous system saying no, or is this your actual intuition? And so many people have them linked, that their nervous system is their intuition. And we get to just unlink the two of those. And when you separate the two of those, you can connect and communicate with them individually and know, where is this information coming from? Is this coming from like fear and my like survival instincts and survival patterning? Or is this coming from my intuition actually throwing up a warning sign or saying like, no, this isn't a fit, if that makes sense. This is pretty powerful and profound when you start breaking these energetics down as you're creating a relationship with your intuition. And again, like connecting to your intuition is an ever evolving creative process. Like we can systematize it and create steps to a certain point, but then ultimately it's more of an art form than it is a science. And so this is something that you get to be an active partnership with, active relationship with, of communicating with your intuition and seeking to proactively tune into it and almost test it. It's almost like a trial and error experience of um, your intuition. This actually happened 2 weeks ago with some of our kids. Well, it's actually been happening a little while longer than that because about a month and a half ago, one of the kids was wanting to go ride their e-scooter, and I just had this feeling that they shouldn't go on a ride without me home. I was feeling, like, weirdly protective and was, like, double checking that they were gonna wear a helmet. I was getting ready to take one of the other kids, run them to dance class because 'cause I'm in my era of picking up and dropping off kids, picking up and dropping off kids. I'm 1 year away from our first driver's license in the house besides the parents, and so, anyways, here I am getting ready to go run a kid to dance, and the other kid is like, I wanna go on this, scooter ride, this electric scooter ride," and something in me was like, "Ugh," you know? It was like this mommy intuition moment of just, like, the answer felt like a no. But I didn't have a logical reason to, like, justify or back that up, so I didn't do it. Then another time, about 2 weeks later, it was my wife that was feeling like, "No, this kid shouldn't go hang out with this other kid today, something's just feeling off." And then that other kid ended up punching him in the face, and they, like, got in this physical fight. And so then the 3rd time it happened, some of the kids were wanting to go ride their bikes down to a soda shack, and there was a similar energy, in both of us, my wife and I, that was just like, "I don't know why it's a no, but I just, like, know that it's a no." Right? And so that's like experimental, right? Because we're, feeling that same feeling and then saying yes to the kid. And then, oh, I didn't tell you on the e-scooter, the kid ended up crashing and we ended up having a really bad sprained ankle. We ran into the urgent care and got x-rays and everything because we thought it could have been broken. But then this kid was on crutches for a couple of weeks and struggling around. And my intuition had already told me that it was not a good idea to do that. So that's experimental, right? It took 3 times, but now on the 3rd time, it's like, "Oh, I remember this feeling. I know that, like, my intuition is guiding me," because your intuition is a connection. If you wanna think about it like, how time isn't real and everything is the infinite now, your intuition is like the connection to, like, the all-seeing, the all-knowing. So, it's like that oversoul, that higher self, call it whatever you want, but you're connecting outside of the limited human perspective you're having of this now moment. And when you do that, you can get incredible insight and incredible guidance. And so, um, the way that you uniquely connect to that and the way that you feel it and the way that it comes through is something that you will get to try on. And so now that that had happened 3 times in a row, I'm pretty clear, like, I'm not going to ignore that feeling again. I know exactly what that was. And what that was guidance um, of, how to keep my kids safe. Good stuff. This is totally a tangent, but I was thinking about this the other day, and I really feel that, especially while our kids are minors, that as parents, and specifically in my situation, mothers, we have this super spidey mother's intuition for our kids. And I believe that their intuition slash guides slash, you know, guardian angels, whatever you want to call it, are there positioned to um, also help us get the insight that we need to raise them um, in alignment with their mission and their purpose. So that's a cool thing that I've definitely been witnessing and seeing these last few weeks. Welcome, Linda, Kathy, Elizabeth, Truth. Welcome. As you're popping on, if you have any questions or if you're watching the replay, let me know. Hashtag replay. Any questions around intuition, intuition type, or any of the other insights that I am sharing, post them. And I would love to keep an eye on that for the next 2 to 3 days and get back to you. All right. The third, the third major hijack when it comes to our intuition is believing that your intuition is some sort of outside authority figure, like a man on a throne in the sky that is dictating and telling you how you're meant to live your life and what you're expected to do and what you need to do. And what this essentially is outsourcing our intuition and our guidance to the agenda or opinion of something separate from us. It's a separateness energy rather than what is the alignment of truth and the embodiment of truth is that you are one with source energy and your desires are safe guidance. So if you're wanting to create something, that's essentially your desires um, are what gets your intuition going. So I like to think of it like a GPS. Your intuition is the GPS helping you get to your destination. You don't need an outside source to tell you what that is, right? I grew up in a high demand religion where the outside source was telling me, like, this is what it wanted for my life. It wanted, a temple marriage, married to a man, multiply and replenish the earth, raise kids under the covenant and in the church, yada, 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 yada. And it was all this external agenda and this external plan being put on my life for how I was meant to live and what I was meant to do when I was here. Versus now, that has been replaced with what do I want to do? And I could even go as far as say like what do I feel called to do? But that is from an inside out perspective of like when I'm doing this thing, I feel the most alive, I feel the most like myself. It feels like what I want to do and what I was meant to do, what I was born to do versus what I'm being told from an external source I'm meant to do, right? And so when I put those things in like you know um let's see, like motivational speaking, retreat facilitation, um, high level coaching. When I put those things into my GPS, now my intuition has something to route me to. So then when I'm asking questions with like between this decision or this decision, I want to live here or I want to live there. And it's like, where should I live? Where should I live? And I tune into my intuition. My intuition is guiding me to what it is that I want to experience in my life. And it's letting me know which like location of moving is going to be most aligned to that outcome, if that makes sense. Now, in the work that I do, I always invite my clients to have a relaxed open hand around the thing that they're wanting to manifest where it's like it's this or something better instead of like a death grip on like this is what I want and this is the timeline and I want to make this much money by the time I'm 28 and I want to have two kids, a boy and a girl, and I want to live in a suburb outside of Chicago, and like getting too overly attached and instead still wanting all those same things but saying it with like a more of an open hand of like it's this or something better. And it's like this element of humility that we infuse into the work that we do where we're recognizing like what I think I want inside of my human brain in my limited perspective, it collapsed into my human 3D form might not be like actually the most aligned or happiest thing that I want. Like I might think I want to live in this suburb in Chicago, so that I can have friends or have this or have that. But then actually what's the most aligned that I want even more than that, that's even more my dream, but I'm not conscious it's my dream, is like living in a community in a remote part of the rainforest, right? But at the time that I declare what I want, I'm not even seeing that as an option. So that's that piece. That's that element of humility and surrender that we infuse inside of our manifestations to actually accelerate the timeline. So as much as I'm saying, no, it's not like this outside source, I do also believe is in surrendering to like a higher force or a higher power, which I see as higher aspects of myself, saying that's like, yeah, this is what I want, but it's like it's this or something better. And it's just knowing that it's like That's the baseline, actually. And when you do that, you declare and set a standard that then your intuition is able to route and orient you around. So these are the three things. These are the three things that hijack our intuition. First, thinking all intuition types are the same. Not true. It's bullshit. Second, thinking that our nervous system or our feeling space is our intuition. Not true. You can absolutely be regulated for dysfunction and for toxicity and create yourself up to be a vibrational match for that based on the thoughts you think and the energy that you're vibrating. And the third thing is believing that there's some sort of outside source that's here to like dictate to you. That's not the case. Your intuition is going to come the highest, the fastest, and the clearest. It's going to come through the clearest and resonate the most deeply for you when you are knowing, owning, and declaring what it is that you really want from a place of absolute worthiness and assumption that you get to have and experience those things. So, that being said, this concludes the live stream for today. Thank you so much for being here. As always, thank you for the hearts, the comments, the likes, the shares. It's really fun when people invite me into their world. So, thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you all so much. And with that said, be blessed, be well, and we'll talk to you again really soon. Cheerio.